Hello, Karen. Happy November 7th. And listeners, welcome to our mini pod.
Happy election day eve and
Yes.
potentially the last day of our democracy. Who knows? It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a good run. Like, can't really
Has
even
it?
laugh about that. Has it really? I'm not sure. Ooh, yeah. So it is. It is election eve. Listeners, we hope that you are, I guess I can't assume, planning to vote or have already voted. In Oregon, Karen, they send us all the ballots, all the
Oh,
ballots. It's an automatic thing. I was so surprised after moving from California where you actually have to go in or you have to register for an absentee, yada yada. In Oregon, everything is mail in. Or I mean,
oh,
you can go to a polling place if you really want to, but the thing here is like if whenever you register, they send you your ballot like 3 weeks in advance, and then there are drop off boxes everywhere. So I did it yesterday. It was great.
oh my gosh. I have heard that Washington State has the same thing.
Yeah.
Illinois, we're way too, what's the word I'm looking for? Corrupt. And we just want to force everybody to come in. I mean, obviously we have mail in, but it's certainly not automatic like that. It's not the default.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I also enjoy kind of the ceremony of voting.
I
Like
do
I like
too.
going in. Yeah, I enjoy it. So I'm kind of happy about it.
Yeah, like going into the little booth and like you're with everyone else and there's an energy about it. Like, what is your polling
Yes.
place like? Is it near your house? You know where it is? I'm sure you've already voted there.
Yes, I have voted here. It is at the elementary school, which is very fun to go into. It's like in the elementary school gym. So it's got this like
Nice.
very, right, like very civic, like I am being a citizen of the city of Chicago feel to it. I'm in an elementary school.
Love.
All elementary school gyms smell exactly alike.
Oh my God, don't they?
Yes.
Like, what is that
Kind of
exactly?
creepy. Like it literally smells exactly the same as my elementary school
I mean,
in the gym.
I can like bring that back into my
Yes.
mind like right now. It's kind of like antiseptic mixed with like some like teenage BO mixed
Yes.
with like I don't know. Like there's something, but it's not as gross as I'm making it sound. Like
No, it's like there's like a dusty smell to it. No,
dusty.
totally.
Yeah.
So yes, that is my polling place. I like it. And I also love election day when I was a reporter. And so there's like that element. Like I feel like there's something about going into the polling place that like triggers this like reporter thing in my brain. Like I just start taking in everything around me.
Ooh, love it.
I know. It's very fun.
That's really fun. And then are you able to go and vote before November 8th? Is that a thing when you have to go to your polling place or do you have to wait for the day?
So I think because I'm in the neighborhood, in order to vote early, there are only certain places. Like not all of the polling places in Chicago have early voting. I think I'd have to travel
Mm,
somewhere else. When I lived downtown, my normal polling place, I think I could have voted early. But yeah, I'm just going to go the day of.
nice.
Yeah.
That's so great. I have not been keeping track of Illinois, like your
Mm.
election. Like, is it kind of, yeah, is the gubernatorial race hot like it is in many other states right now? Or are there, yeah, I guess you can't really talk about who you're voting for on this podcast, but are things spicy at the moment?
I guess I can make observations, right? So in Illinois, it's JB Pritzker, who's the Democrat, who's the incumbent. He is a billionaire,
Yep.
the JB Pritzker of the Pritzkers. And then Darren Bailey is the Republican, who I don't know that very much about, I will say. And a theory that I've heard, and maybe this is just true and everybody knows it, is that there were a lot of Republicans running in the primary and that a lot of Democrats pulled Republican ballots and voted for Darren Bailey, thinking like there's no way he could beat JB.
Oh,
Like there was somebody else running. So he is the Richard Irvin, I think is his name. So there's like a black man who is black Republican, black male Republican. That's all I'm gonna say. That's on the voice. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Black male Republican. It's the mayor of one of the suburbs here, Aurora. And the richest man in Illinois pumped a ton of money into his campaign
oh, interesting.
to beat JB. And so like people were talking about like it's the battle of the billionaires, even though this guy's not running, Ken Griffin's not running. He's pumped all this money into this guy's campaign. But that guy did not win the primary. He's not running against JB. So again, theory is that a lot of people wanted Darren Bailey to win. He did win. He is very conservative, is anti-abortion rights, and probably can't win here.
Okay. This is backing up your corrupt comment earlier. Like, I mean, in its own way, there is never a dull moment in Illinois politics. I mean, never. Like, I remember so vividly when I was living there, it was during the middle of the Blagojevich trial. And like I had a friend who was reporting on Blagojevich and like how like all of these women were throwing their bras at him outside the courthouse and like all of this stuff. But I mean, obviously that's just like one teeny example of Illinois politics, but yeah, it's just never a dull moment. Having grown up there your entire life, I'm sure you're like, okay, nothing surprises you, I would imagine.
Very little does. And I also cover the Blagojevich trial. So I covered the retrial. You know, he got tried twice.
Yes, that's right.
So I covered the retrial, and he lives 5 minutes from me.
Oh, that's right, because he's out now.
Oh, yeah. Out running these streets. He's in like an Elvis cover band.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
no,
wait.
that's like actually true.
Okay, listeners, if you're like, who are you talking about? So Rod Blagojevich tried to take Barack Obama's Senate seat illegally. That's how it went, right? Because
he tried to sell it.
He tried to sell the seat. That's right.
He tried to sell
when
it.
Obama became president. And then he tried to get off, but he did spend some time in jail. I mean, he spent a little bit in jail, I thought, right?
Oh, yeah. He went to federal prison. He got a pretty stiff sentence. He didn't serve all of it, but now he's out. He's flipped and was campaigning for Trump. I mean, Rod Blagojevich ran as a Democrat. I don't know what his political affiliation is now, but yeah, there's never a dull moment. I mean, at one point when Blago was in office and got arrested, while he was still in office, mind you, the sitting governor of the state of Illinois, like arrested by the FBI. At that point, 5 of the last 7 governors of Illinois had been accused of something.
Oh, God.
They had been arrested. I forget how many.
I do remember this. That's right. Okay, wait. So he was the governor, the sitting governor, and he tried to sell Obama's seat. That's what happened. Oh, okay. Like in office. Like just casually, as if he could do that and not get caught. What?
Oh, my God. And yeah, like because he had the power to appoint that the rest of that term, right? And so, yeah, he was just like soliciting bids from people like
casually, just like
as you do.
As you do. And yes, I do remember that statistic that the 5, what was it? You said 5 of the 6 previous governors.
5 of the previous 7 at that time. I don't know what it is now, but yeah.
Had all been either indicted or arrested or gone to jail.
Correct.
Ooh, that's not a good track record. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I hope people vote in Illinois and keep it blue. Keep it blue, in my opinion. Like that would be amazing. But oh boy. Yeah. So in Oregon, the political ads are in full force. So it's Christine Drazen is the QAnon, like extreme right. I mean, extreme for Trump, right? So, gubernatorial candidate. And then Tina Kotek. I know it's really scary. And then Tina Kotek is the, middle of the road Democrat, kind of just like, regular human, in my opinion. And so it's neck and neck, like every single poll that comes out, it's like, and there are 3, you're right. There's a middle
holding up my hands because there are 3. So I work at the 19th, and the 19th is not a story about. This is one of the only races. There are 3 women running for governor in Oregon.
Yes, you're right. So there is an independent that declared, I mean, it must have been less than 2 months ago. Her name's Betsy Johnson, and she's more right leaning. And I think she might have previously declared that she was a Republican. But yeah, she's basically saying to the Democrats that don't like Tina Kotek, like vote for me, except that there's no way that Betsy Johnson could win the independent person. Like there's just no way. And so it's interesting because like a lot of people, major players, like Bernie Sanders was recently in Oregon, and he was ironically campaigning for the Democrat versus the independent person. But it's like, people are just, it's tough. I think the problem is that a lot of Portland Democrats do not like our current governor, and Tina, the person who's running for the Democratic seat, is a protege of the current governor. And so that is, it's a tough time right now, and a lot of people don't feel represented by the Democrats in office in Portland, and or in Salem because that's the capital. Anyway, state by state politics. It's truly never a dull moment.
Oh man. Well, and I'm trying to find this number because the 19thnews.org has a story today about governor's races that we're watching, and I gotta find this because I had no idea that this was true. Let's see. Just 45 women have served as governor in American history.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And only 9 have served in the role at the same time. So at any given time, there were a maximum of 9, but in American history, only 45 women governors. And there has never been a Black woman governor in American history.
Really? Until the 9th when Stacey fucking Abrams wins. Please win. Please win. No. Okay. You don't think?
I don't think she's going to win.
Do you really?
Yeah, no, I don't think she's going to win. Kemp is polling really. I know your face. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. I feel like a deflated balloon. Wait, really? You really don't think so? Brian Kemp he's too rich.
Well, I think he's just consistently been polling ahead. Fuck.
But she is a gift to humanity. I love her. Okay. All right. Well, this is a perfect segue into our topic today, which listeners, we're basically just trying to self-medicate here because, I think that as you can see in our conversation, midterm election stress is pretty damn high at the moment. So if you're also feeling the way we're feeling, which is there's some tension building and both of us hope to actually sleep tomorrow night, this is the conversation for you.
Yes. And all right, Katie, I mean, kind of take it away. Like you have done the research on this in terms of like coping, like anticipatory stress.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is that? Like I basically Googled, okay, so the idea was let's talk about how to deal with midterm election stress. And then I Googled it and holy shit, there are so many articles on this exact topic right now because I think a lot of people are just looking at this right now, like really worrying about like how they can handle if they feel stress, how they can handle it. And listeners, if you are one of those people who are feeling some sort of tension at the moment, apparently there is something called election stress disorder, which is actually like a real thing. So according to the American Psychological Association, during the 2020 presidential election, according to that association, 50% of Americans were believed to have this disorder. I feel like the word disorder is a little bit misleading. Like, I'm not sure if it's in the DSM. So I don't know. I also don't, I can't say that I know more than the American Psychological Association, but yeah, I'm not sure. Anywho, so just to say, trying to validate everyone's experience, whatever it is. If you're super chill, awesome. Keep doing you. But if you're not super chill, so I looked at Psychology Today, and there is an article that I will link in the show notes. It's called How to Cope with Midterm Election Stress. And basically, one of the things that, it talks about strategies like control your, viewing of political ads, control how much news you're watching, things that you and I, Karen, talk about frequently, like taking walks in nature and listening to music that you love and doing, meditations with Tamara Levitt in the Calm app, like all of those things. I think they're wonderful. But the one thing that was really interesting to me is like this idea of anticipatory coping or anticipatory stress. So if you're anticipating, it's kind of self-explanatory. But they gave three strategies for coping with this type of stress. So the first one is plan a response if your candidate loses, which I thought was kind of interesting. So as an example, I'm just reading this. Continue to be or become active in creating positive change for the issues that you care most about. So like if your person doesn't win, like you can still do things that move it forward. It doesn't mean that the world is ending, I guess, right?
No, but it does.
But
Okay,
it
so see, I see I'm self-diagnosing myself with this disorder because I feel like what immediately comes up for me is that like, not that I have a horse in any race because of where I work, but it's not about one candidate. It is about the composition of Congress. And it is
is.
about, right? And the things that the various parties have pledged to do should they take control or retain control of Congress. And so, yeah, I feel like I hear it. I wish that it was like the local school board race that I was really stressed out about. Like,
Right.
I wish that was it, because then I would go to meetings and then that feels to me easier to wrap my head around, hands around, something
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
to dance around to like, right, than what's really going on here.
I so appreciate that. And you're right. I think this Psychology Today article is not really solving everything. And it's like a little bit simplistic, but I not but anything. And I think I mean, yes, the future of our country is lying in the balance. Like that's, I mean, funny, but not at all funny. Okay, number 2, try to reduce partisan mindset in which you see only the other party's danger. Understand that this mindset makes you overly aware of the perils of the other side while not noting the weaknesses that your own party may bring. I don't know. Maybe this is like not a good article. Like
Okay. I feel like Tanya is yelling at her podcast player right now, like, you guys, just read from my book. Come on.
It's true. Yeah, to reduce partisan mindset. I mean, let me think. If Tanya was here, she probably, I'm sorry, Tanya, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but maybe you would say, try to have an open mind and focus on the connection that you can make with people who are on the other side of the aisle. Right?
I'm giggling to myself because I wrote down WWDTID. What would Dr. Tanya Israel do?
Coming to a t-shirt near you folks.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Okay, I'll go through the third one and then we can discuss. So the third one is disrupt the what if negative loop. People uncomfortable with uncertainty often want to use their intellect to solve problems around and around they go, digging deeper and deeper hole as they keep trying to solve the unsolvable. For example, the unknown future. Limit yourself to 3 cycles of what if and then distract yourself with one of the current means of coping listed previously. I don't know. I'm sorry, Karen. This article probably really sucks.
I mean, we're talking about it, right? I feel like it's a good
Discussion.
Yes, jumping off point for discussion. I'm glad to know that psychologists are thinking about this. That is a good thing to know.
That's very positive. I agree. It is nice. Actually, that's another thing that was said in the election stress disorder article, which was that there is like a massive uptick in people in person therapy, or maybe not in person, whatever, Zoom, one-on-one therapy talking about election news. That's not a surprise at all.
I mean, PTSD is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us have PTSD after 2016, and we're so looking forward to 2020, and we all know what happened to us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's real. I was one of the many YouTubers I follow was just talking about like she has decided to treat the pandemic as a big thing that happened. Like she is disrupting this notion that we're all just supposed to walk it off. Like this was a huge thing that happened to all of us. And we're all supposed to pretend like it wasn't. And she's like, no, I'm going to treat it like it was a big thing.
I like that.
I like that too. So that's kind of how I feel about, that's really how I feel about elections too. Like, I'm not going to pretend like these are not huge things that are happening.
Totally. I completely agree. Yeah. To sweep them under the rug or to limit the number of, it's like whatever we feel is okay. Like, I think that's the thing, not trying to push it down. I will say that on November 8th, I was invited to an election like viewing party at this bar with a
Ooh.
couple of my friends. And I want to go specifically because I want to be around people who I can just be myself in whatever the outcome is. And so like that's one of my coping mechanisms is like I want to just be with people. Um, but I think my other coping mechanism that day is probably going to be, I mean, I know I'm going to be listening obsessively to NPR. I know I am. Like I can't pretend I'm not, but also like eating good food, going outside regularly, maybe taking more walks than I normally do. Like, what are you thinking, Karen, in terms of how to cope with it on the day or the day before?
I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it. I will say, even 10 years out from being a reporter, being at home or just being like at a bar, for instance, on election day still feels really weird to me. Like I was
Does
an
it?
AP reporter for 6.5 years, and every year I worked, I feel like I got sent to some election, right? Like midterms, mayoral election, city, all of those things, right? And even just being in the bureau, like even not being out reporting on an election night felt weird. So it's just still, I don't know. I feel like I loved the adrenaline of it. Every reporter knows that you get election night pizza. It's a whole thing. It's a very celebratory thing in
Yes.
newsrooms. And so like I miss the energy of that. And so not it's just it's weird. I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna spend my election night.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to know. Maybe you'll decide in the moment. Like maybe it will just be like a game time decision.
True. I'm sure it will be. Well, and I feel like I'm also going to be watching. I mean, we also kind of have an all hands on deck. Like, we're not planning to do a ton on election day unless something wild happens.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's all hands on deck. So I think I'll also be watching. I can't even imagine what could happen that we would like have to leap into action, but who knows? Just who
Totally.
knows?
I also think like I'm gonna want to work in front of my television during the day. Like, am I really gonna get that much work done?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like this midterm, I think that every single election in the past, what, maybe 5 years, at least 6 years, 7 years, every single election, midterms, primaries, whatever it is, everyone's saying, like, this is the most important election for our democracy. And then people are like, no, no, no. I know we've said that before, but this one is the most important. And it's like, I think all of them are now getting to that level. And so it's like, shouldn't it just be a national holiday like it is in so many other countries? Like, that would be nice.
There are so many ways that we do this wrong, but totally. It should absolutely be a national holiday. I will say Lyft is offering, I think it's 50% off rides if you're going to the poll. Some public
Ooh,
transit systems, yes, like offer free rides. Like there are things that we do to make it easier. I think some workplaces have to give you 2 hours to vote. Like I will also say, I was never the kind of reporter who didn't vote. I know some journalists who don't vote.
oh,
And yeah,
really?
no, yes. Yeah. We feel like, yeah, that's how far they take this like idea of objectivity. And I always feel like too many people in my history have fought for me to have the right to vote. Like it's not really all that long ago that you and I could vote, that I could vote. So
Yes.
I'm not going to not do it. And regardless of how you feel about politics, I hope that everybody feels like voting is something that we should all be doing.
I so agree. I so agree. I remember during the 2012 election when Obama won, I went to the phone banks in San Francisco and I was calling on election day. And it was the election night pizza. And it was the Obama headquarters in San Francisco. It was so electric, Karen. It was so exciting. And I remember posting a photo. I think I posted it to Facebook because I used Facebook back then. And I had so many people being like, I I know you're a reporter, like you should not have been campaigning for Obama. And I know campaigning is different than voting, but like I was just like, what? Like this is my
Mm.
right. Like it's like there is a journalistic, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to preach in any way for any journalists, but for me, I'm like, I'm person first. Like I wanna, I believe what I believe.
And you don't cover politics,
No,
right?
I
Like
never
it would
have.
be different if, yeah, that, I mean, again, I feel like people take this very far. And a whole other episode we could do about who benefits when journalists aren't allowed to be people and citizens.
Yes. Yes, that is an entire another episode for sure. But yeah, I just wish that we had the day off. I wish that it was mandatory. If voting was mandatory, I'm pretty sure Trump would never have been a thing. But who knows? Yeah, I know. On that note, friends, we wish you all of the coping skills that feel good to you. Sorry about the Psychology Today article. A little bit of a bust. But we can try. We'll see.
Happy election day, everyone.
Happy election day, everyone. I really do hope that everyone is feeling okay, and we'll see you next week.